always been like that. We've always had these two sides in this band, and we've always been asking ourselves, like, what is the most, how are we going to do this? How are we going to combine this? And the idea of splitting it up between two CDs and making those two CDs really distinct and different is an idea that we've had for a long time, and now with this double O, we could finally try to realize that.
Okay, this will be the last question. Now, when I've been to your site, I mean, you guys pretty well reveal as the albums, different steps that you guys are taking with the album. Describing each step as the album comes together. Out of all those steps, what would you say the most exciting part is?
The recording process, you mean?
Not only the recording process, about when you're about to release it, when you're about to have the album promoted, all of that. The full cycle of putting that album out. What to you is the most exciting process?
That's a difficult one, man. I don't really know. I really enjoy the studio time, the whole process of working on ideas. Apparently, just like recording itself is kind of a dull, unexciting process, just recording the drums. But once you've got the basic tracks down and you try to elaborate further on like second guitar lines and all the strings and the arrangements of the samples and the classical instruments, and that's the part that I really like when like creative recording comes into play. That's probably, for me personally, as a musician and a sound engineer, the most exciting part.
Right.
When the most basic tracks are laid and you try to find like new stuff, and it all comes, out of nowhere. Basically, you get all these ideas, and a song develops into a totally unforeseen direction. That's awesome. I love that.
Right.
And then apparently the final stage is also always really cool when everything's done, and you're like, okay, I can just kick back now and see how the album is actually received, and the label comes into play promoting the album. That's the stage we're in right now. People ask questions about it. I see there's a great deal of interest in it, and you get the feeling that people appreciate what you've been doing for the last 9 months of your life on a daily 8-hour basis. So that's also a really rewarding process, apparently, that doesn't involve too much personal work anymore. So that's great.
That's awesome. And I'll make this the really last question. With your new album, with this recent album you guys just have done, spending 3 years on it, are you going to still take the same amount of time to put out the next album? Or do you see that happening?
That's another good question that I can't really answer at this point. Right now I'm in the mood where I'm saying I don't ever want to write another album again. But I'm aware of the fact that this will probably change sooner or later. But we're not really thinking of the new album right now. This album took a long time in the making, and now it's done, and we're really happy about it. And now we're going to try to make the most out of it and tour on it as much as we can. And we're not really thinking about the next album. It's going to be hard to surpass this one just because of the amount of work that went into it. It's almost 90 minutes of music. As I said, there's an entire orchestra playing on it and a lot of guest and additional musicians. And we have a concept that kind of, unites the whole thing. So we're really happy with this, and I don't really know how we're going to top this in the future, but of course we're going to try. Maybe try to realize my old vision of trying to combine like a movie with a record.
Yeah.
That's something I'd really like to try at one point, like to make a short movie or like write a plot and then kind of try to write music for this movie and release it together as a DVD and a CD.
Right.
But it's all just stupid brainchilds right now. So
for sure.
Probably don't even want to put that in the interview.
Well, who knows? Over time, that might change as you get more, I guess, creative and have more time for it.
Yeah, totally. We'll see what happens. Right now, we're still we still have this album in our heads right now, and everything related to this album and the new one's probably going to take at least 2 years until we're going to start really working on it. So we'll see.
Well, hey, man, all the power to you.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, thanks again, eh?
Well, what magazine was that?
This is for Toronto-based magazine.